Today we got to talk about four-star cornerback Isaiah Johnson, who has whittled his list to 5. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time today. We need to talk about 6'2", 180-pound cornerback Isaiah Johnson, who has whittled his final list to 5 and includes, among others, Oklahoma and LSU, but there's some others for the kiddo who spent the last few years playing in West Virginia before moving to Playa del Rey in California and knowing what the CIF is going to do with high school football, meaning push it back to the spring. I think that these lists are taking on a little bit different importance. Went over Tristan Lee's list yesterday. Tristan Lay. On this show, I'm going to get it right, Tristan. I swear to God, I'm going to get it right. But let's jump into the kiddo with 4.52 laser time speed, who is really picking up some steam in his recruiting. And again, one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country, and right in there with a Latrell McCutcheon and a Jordan Hancock when it comes to pure ability to play the position. So let's get to what he told Brian Doan at 247 Sports, starting with first school listed on this list is Arizona State. There's a lot I can say about Arizona State. You got assistant coach Antonio Pierce starting off. Antonio Pierce has built a reputation that is going to be more, like right up there with DeMarco Murray when we talk about former NFL players who have just taken right to recruiting. Murray needs to land Kamar Wheaton for us to solidify that. But between Antonio Pierce and Jamar Cain and what he was able to do at Arizona State, what he's doing in Oklahoma, you can understand why Arizona State has been so good. You also have Marvin Lewis as the co-defensive coordinator, play caller, and Herm Edwards, of course, as head coach. You got NFL personnel all over the place. He's a true guy. He will keep it real with me. You got defensive backs coach Chris Hawkins, and a real guy. He's young, and he knows what he's doing. I feel like I can go in there and start as a true freshman. There you go. And there is Coach Herm. That's all you need to say is Coach Herm. NFL, play DB, coaches the DBs. There's a lot with these guys. They are true. They keep it real. Next on the list is Georgia, and Georgia really needs to get some wins in recruiting here. Like, I feel like with Amarius Mims being a lean, they can't afford to lose him to the likes of Alabama, who I'm going to do a segment on because their offensive line recruiting is ridiculous. But Georgia would really love a win here. And he said, I talk to defensive backs coach Charlton Warren every day. I have good relationships with Kirby Smart and him. I feel like I could go in there and start as a true freshman as long as I work hard, which I will. They are building the number one defense in America. They have a lot of guys that I have met before, either at the opening or the camps, and that is a big plus too. They picked up last year Keely Ringo, who was the number one cornerback in the class in the 247 composite. Ringo feels like an oversized corner. We'll see if he gets moved to safety, maybe even linebacker if he keeps growing the way he does. But he can be that kind of dude that is an eraser, and that's what you really want. Like Ringo is the only dude that was able to take away Eric Gilbert last year at camp. And Eric Gilbert's always 6'5", 253 pounds, highest rated tight end of the last 4 years. And then there's Oklahoma. There are still my guys. At the beginning of Johnson's recruitment, they kept it real. They were showing constant love. I feel like I would have a good opportunity out there. They just got the number one quarterback, Caleb Williams, in America. And I talked to one of the top receivers in the nation, and he may be liking those guys too. Top receiver, maybe Emeka Egbuka. But we are going to leave it right there. With USC, he said, you've got assistant coach Dante Williams. Coach Dante is what makes me consider going to USC. He is the main factor. He is a real dude. I know he is going to get me to where I need to be. There is another guy on the staff, Coach Kerry Colbert, and he's real cool. He coached in Atlanta, which is where I'm from. We click, and it is already out there, so my mom wouldn't have to figure out, or out here, not out there, figure out how buying a new house all over again. So knowing that last little part about mom being able to stay close and near, I get that, right? That's a big part of Jeremiah Cradell's announcement and going to Oklahoma. It's a big part of a lot of kids. Like, I believe even the Williams family is going to look at trying to move to Norman to try to get Caleb through 3-4 years, give or take, on his play at Oklahoma. And you're seeing this more often with families wanting to be nearby and more or less had that support for their kiddo, but also give them the kind of environment that they think they need to not just succeed at college, but to also thrive at practice, somewhere to go where you can trust someone and really understand what you're going through from day one all the way through. I think that with USC coming in that way and him living out there already, you got to throw them in there. LSU doesn't have a corner in the class, and that's a big deal, but they do have Kerry G, and I think with Kerry G, you would love to have another safety and at least one cornerback. But after their cornerback recruiting in 2020, where they picked up Dwight McGlothern and Elias Ricks on top of what they already have, it's not really that big a deal. They really need an offensive tackle. And I know that Oklahoma's been in early and in often, and it's not as if Oklahoma has not gone out to California and won before. But this is a tall order, right? This is coaching. This is recruiting against USC, who is a blue blood and who has been really outstanding at just recruiting with the letters here recently, after getting destroyed in the Holiday Bowl and having a 5-7 season the year before. And LSU, who's coming off 15-0 national championship season. Arizona State has Antonio Pierce and that NFL club type of atmosphere that they run. And I know that there's not going to be a whole lot said about Georgia as it pertains here, but Georgia might actually just want to make a statement here and try to win Isaiah Johnson's recruitment just because they can, to show that they can. Because when we're talking about Georgia, it felt really good for them a couple months ago. Now, watching Jordan Hancock and Terrence Ferguson both lead the state of Georgia, one to Ohio State and one to Alabama, there's some questions about whether or not even Georgia needs to recruit its home base to win nationally. And I would say yes, it does, because Georgia had the second highest number of blue chip recruits in the country last year, behind just Florida. And Florida produces more blue chippers than any other state in the union. And then there's California, right? And then there's Texas. So yeah, Kirby Smart needed to put a fence up around that place, but losing Trevor Lawrence, among others, didn't help him. Losing Justin Fields after he got him, right, certainly didn't help him. We're talking about Storebrand Cam Newton probably being the starting quarterback if JT Daniels isn't able to beat him out after being immediately eligible. But that's a big deal, right? Him winning back a guy like Brock Vandagriff helps his profile. What if Brock Vandagriff was still committed to Oklahoma? Probably doesn't win a guy like Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams probably considers an LSU or a Maryland, and there's different chips and dominoes than falling, but you get the point here. I like all of these options for him. I think every one of these places can help him and develop him, and especially when you think about what USC's defense is trying to do. Like, Chris Steele's already back there. They're changing the defense to that 3-3-5 blitz everything that moves, with Todd Orlando calling the plays, and they're going to be paired with an air raid offense that goes tempo and scores a bunch of points. So you're going to need to get stops and stops quickly on the other side of the ball. And in man-to-man coverage, where you need to have great hips and great technique, and you need to be able to read the eyes of the quarterback, USC fits there. So I could see it going in either way here, but right now I'm going to see who's able to win the recruitment of Mama. Because you can win Mama, I think you can win Isaiah Johnson. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.